Okay, this is how I was able to catch this good buy that happened. So this is how I was able to catch this good buy. Let me show you on Meta 5. So this is good. This is good. So first of all, I switch to my 4-hour time frame to know if the direction of the market have really changed from the 4-hour time frame, because it's very important for you to know your directional bias so that you trade alongside with the trend of the market. So I switch to my 4-hour time frame. So this is 4-hour time frame. So market was in a very serious bearish movement. So market was creating a series of lower low, lower high. You can see lower low, lower high, lower low, a lower high, a lower low, and then a lower high. So one thing I noticed is that a downtrend is indicated by lower low and lower high. So I now notice that okay, market break above this lower high, which is not supposed to be so, because an indication of a downtrend is lower low and lower high. So when market break above this, I know that okay, market structure shift has just occurred. Market structure shift has just occurred. So what do? I now switch to my lower time frame, to 1-hour time frame, to see the possible entry and to see the chart more clearly. So I switch. This is my 1-hour time frame now. So from the 1-hour time frame, if you look critically, you see that market is in a downtrend. Lower low, creating a series of lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, and then a lower high. So when market create this last lower low, when market create this last low here, what happened? It break above this last lower high, sorry, it break above this last lower high and then created an inducement. This first pullback here is inducement. So if you are trading this strategy, the first thing that you need to get is your structural part of the strategy. The first thing you need to get is the structural part of the strategy. So when you get the structural part of the strategy, the second is the liquidity part of the strategy before the point of interest. So you don't jump to liquidity or POI when you have not identified the structure. So the structure have led us to know that okay, this market is changing direction to an uptrend. So we trade alongside with an uptrend, and an indication of change of character is market structure shift. So you know that okay, when market structure shift occurred, that means that trade is about to change direction. If it is an uptrend, it's about to change direction from an uptrend to a downtrend. So we know that is our reversal pattern, the reversal concept of trading this strategy. So when market break above this level, created this inducement here, and I know that okay, market structure shift has occurred. So what do I do? The next thing for me to do is for me to look for either an order block or a breaker an order block or a breaker block, yes, to take my entry, because that is a 2 POI that we use. That's a 2 POI that we use in trading this strategy. So what do? I look at this whole structure of movement, and I discover this is the order block that I can use to enter this trade. That is why I pick my entry from here. This is the order block. If you follow the rules of picking a proper point of interest, if you follow it, if you have been following my videos, you should be able to know that. So if you follow the rule properly, this is where you can take this buy here from good. So the first rule of picking a proper point of interest, say there must be a market structure shift which occurred here. Market structure shift occurred here, change from a downtrend to an uptrend. Then there must be an inducement, and then this is our inducement. This is our inducement. Inducement is the first value pullback after a market structure shift or a double breakout structure. So this is our inducement. Then the third rule says that the point of interest must be unmitigated. So we have different POI here. We have this first POI which is unmitigated. Then we also have this POI here again which is unmitigated, and we have this, or as well we have this, and as well we have this one here, this order block that caused this market structure shift. So if you look critically, you will discover that we have many POI. This one was unmitigated, the second one was unmitigated, and the third one was unmitigated. All were unmitigated. So the final rules in picking a proper point of interest says that you should pick the point of interest that is closer to your inducement, which was supposed to be this. But the reason why I did not use this to enter the trade is because I see an order block in this structural movement. I see another block here. So because I see another block here, I know that okay, market is this zone here is not going to hold. It's not going to hold. I only take a breaker block. I only enter the trade with a breaker block. When there is no order block. If there is order block, I rather go with order block than using a breaker block, because this breaker, if it is a continuation trade now, if it's trade continuation now, I will have say okay, let me go with this. But since it's not a trade continuation, it's a trend reversal. When it has to do a trend reversal, order block works more perfectly than a breaker block. So if it is a double breakout structure, I either use a breaker block or another block. But if I see another block in my POI, I normally go with other block. Except there is no other block, then I'll go with a breaker. That is how I was able to carry this trade from this point. So my take profit was here. I target the last high in the market. If you follow my other video on how to take profit, this will not be a challenge to you. So I use trend and liquidity for this. So if you check, my trade have already hit TP. So that is it. That is that.